Hey everybody, welcome back. So let's do a recap on Totalboat versus Epifanes. As you saw in part one, and if you didn't see part one, stop now, go back, take a look at part one. It'll catch you up to where we're at. What we're going to do is I have a test piece. So my test piece is Sapele mahogany. I have a little extra left over from a project. I'm probably going to use this, but I can go ahead and sand it down afterwards and get the product back off. So the first one I want to apply is Epifanes. Typically I would have thinned this down, sealed up the wood properly, and done all that if I was actually working on a project. But since this is for demonstration purposes only, I'm just trying to give you some ideas. One thing I've absolutely definitely noticed is it's much thicker than Totalboat. So it's definitely going on very thick. I'm gonna say it's got the feeling of maple syrup. That's pretty much the feeling I have. You can absolutely see how the wet edge is still very present. I can blend it very easily. It's very workable. I can work this edge for a very long time. Epifanes does level very nicely. I love how long you are able to work with it. So that's the first coat, unthinned first coat. So I'm going to go ahead and mark on the edge of the board an E for Epifanes. So when we come back and look at this tomorrow, you have an idea. Totalboat, Epifanes. Okay, let's give Totalboat. Yeah, definitely much more thinner. I would say probably by half. I'm working a little faster here because of the wet edge. So I definitely don't feel like I'm putting on nearly as much product as I was with Epifanes. You can see that even though the wet edge isn't there as long as Epifanes, I'm still able to work through it and work at it. So today I would say is about 73 degrees. It's probably about 60% humidity. So Totalboat, Epifanes. Totalboat, Epifanes. They're pretty close to the same color. I'm going to say I feel like there's a little more amber in the Totalboat. See if I can get a better shot for you. Hey there, if you're new to the channel, I appreciate your time. If you subscribe to the channel, I appreciate your time also. Do me a favor, if you're new to the channel and just come in here because of the Epifanes versus Totalboat, stop right now, Subscribe, like, and hit the notification bell so you can be notified of the next episodes we drop. Again, appreciate your time. I hope you enjoy the episode. Thanks so much. So what you'll see here is when I'm sanding the varnish, I actually wet sand. I use 400 grit, a little spritz of water, and I just sand back and forth very lightly. What I'm looking to do is achieve a haze on the varnish. Just to clean the debris. It's thinner, so it's got alcohol in it. Wow, the Totalboat is so much smoother. It's like ice compared to the other.
It looks, what, smoother?
Oh, it's so much smoother. Feel the difference.
Whoa. It's day and night.
Day and night.
Whoa.
So that's one thing I'm noticing. Let me wipe it again, get our oils off. So Totalboat sands a lot easier. So I'm applying Totalboat and Epifanes pretty thick here. And the reason why I'm doing it is I want to see how well it levels out and how quickly it levels out. So I'm going to go ahead and wet sand the third coat now and just see if there's a difference in it. Again, when I'm wet sanding, what I'm doing is I'm just putting a little water down, make sure the sandpaper's got enough water in it. And I'm just going back and forth. You'll feel the sandpaper actually adhere to or stick to the wood and the varnish. And that's kind of what you're looking for. Here I'm applying the fourth coat, doing it with a foam brush just to see if there's a difference. I'm also running a lot smoother coats, a lot thinner coats, as if I was doing the bright work outside. Being very meticulous to make sure my wet edge is good. Make sure to lift any bubbles that are in there. You'll see the colors about the same here, and as I indicate later on in the video, the amber color is pretty even between the two. Let's do a recap on Totalboat versus Epifanes varnish. I applied about 4 coats of each on here. Really happy with it. I'm going to tell you the differences from me being a boat owner, not a professional, from me using it on my bright work outside to the interior of the salon to little pieces like this. Speakers. Totalboat and Epifanes. The biggest difference that I see right off the bat is, first of all, like I said earlier in part 1, is the resanding. So I don't have to resand in between coats with Totalboat where I do with Epifanes. However, the wet edge Totalboat versus Epifanes is vastly different, like I had said in the part 1. Where that's really going to come into play is if you're doing small pieces like this, Totalboat is awesome. You can just put on your layer, put on your coat, put on your coat, put on your coat. Every hour you can just do your buildup. I do like to sand in between coats, but not every coat. Usually I do about 3 coats and then I'll do a sanding. I use about 400 wet sand, knock it down a little bit, reapply, you get a real nice smooth finish. Where Totalboat's not going to excel very much is in big areas. Obviously this is going to be dependent a lot on temperature, humidity, temperature of the product, the wood that we're putting it on. So you have to take all those into account. So for my application in the salon, when I'm doing big areas, I have to come down to the boat really early in the morning when my temperatures and humidity are much lower because trying to cover a big area and keep that wet edge going is a concern. In fact, the other day I was down here doing the wall in the salon and I actually had to stop. I was losing my wet edge too fast. I wasn't able to blend it. Where Epifanes is going to be different. Epifanes, that wet edge it lasts a lot longer. So I'm able to blend it more. So perhaps in the future, or for you, if you're doing a bigger project with a lot of space, then you're going to want to probably switch over to Epifanes because that wet edge is going to last a lot longer. So as you're doing big sections, even if you do little pieces of a big section, you're still going to have to blend the wet edge at some point with the new piece. So that's one thing that I would take into consideration. Small projects, temperatures a lot cooler, Totalboat all the way. I really like it. It's a great application. It's a good product. I'm very pleased with the feel of it. The color difference between Epifanes and Totalboat really wasn't a big difference. They both have an amber hue, like I had said earlier. One thing to consider when using Epifanes or Totalboat, and this might be a big consideration, especially if you're doing a project where budget is an issue. Budget's always an issue with us. We're trying to maintain, refit, restore, and operate a 40-foot boat on a budget. So with Totalboat versus Epifanes, the pricing's different. Epifanes is substantially more money than Totalboat for the same amount, quart, pint, gallon. If that's a consideration with your project, you need to think about that up front. With the salon project we're doing, we're saving a lot of money. So I'll work around the wet edge issue and just get up early in the morning, come down here and take care of it, because the amount of money I'm saving, quite honestly, can go into other parts of the boat, or be quite frank, put food on the table sometimes. One thing I will say that I really like about Totalboat is their customer service. I get Totalboat, just like you would, from Jamestown distributors that are back on the East Coast. Their customer service is impeccable. I love it. If I have a question about anything related to the product or any products they sell, they will absolutely answer. They will take the time and walk me through whatever questions I have. Before I started using Totalboat, since I had never used it before, I went ahead and called them and asked them about their different sandings, what kind of sanding I should do, how often I should sand, this and that. And you never feel rushed on the phone with them, which is so awesome. I really like that. And in today's world, it seems like we either get a computer or you get somebody on the phone finally after, pressing 7, 3, 5, 4, and you get a hold of somebody. And then they're just rushed to answer your question, maybe not even answering the question you have or cut you off during a conversation. I will tell you this firsthand experience. Jamestown Distributors has absolutely surpassed my customer service expectations substantially. So will that be a consideration for me buying products in the future? Absolutely. I love the fact I can call, I get a hold of a person, and they'll walk me through, and they're not rushed. They just answer your questions. And then they ask you, do you have any more questions? And then, in fact, when I was on the phone with them, the guy actually gave me a few tips on questions I didn't even ask. He's like, make sure you try this or make sure you do this. It'll help you work with the product a lot better. So for me, in the grand scheme of things, when I'm doing the bright work outside on the rails of the boat, I'll use Totalboat because, as I said earlier in part 1, the setup time is so much faster. Since it's prone to debris in the air, I'm going to want it to set up really fast. So I'm going to definitely use that on my bright work outside. On little projects, like the speaker cover, little projects like the lights, window frames, things like that, I'll definitely use Totalboat. On bigger products, bigger areas, I'll probably switch over to Epifanes, although I know I'm going to be spending more money. So if money is more of a consideration for me at that time of the month, then I'll probably stick with Totalboat. You're going to do what's best for you. This is my interpretation of both products. I'm not a professional. It's just how I've worked with it and what I've seen during the process of working with them. I hope you've enjoyed this video, the part 1 and part 2. Please subscribe, like, and share. Hit the notification bell for future episodes. And be sure to share this with friends. Thank you so much. Today we're at the gun show. Love the noise around here. And the ability to recoat rapidly. So the color difference, I said so. No, it's fine. The color difference with Nice. So if pricing's a point of contention with you, then you Thank you. You want to hit anything else?